Hello and welcome to my video on how to make concrete countertops and benches. So first things first, you have to make a tool, which I'll explain in a minute. And here I'm mixing up the mixture of 2 part sand, 2 part ballast, 1 part cement. So basically a sack of ballast, a sack of sand, half a sack of cement. I've thrown a handful of fiberglass into the mix as well. Plenty of water, not too wet. And off you go. Here I'm filling the first mould tool, which is for a bench, which is at one side of the garden, and I'll explain a little now. Thank you. I've got a few mould tools knocking about. So here's the first. This is for a bench. So you can see it's white melamine. The depth of the tool is here. You use silicone sealant around the edges to seal it in, and then I've used this frog tape so that I can get the screws back out once I've filled it. So I'll fill it. There's a couple of rebars, which are metal bars, which will go along its length, and I'm going to use, this is just plasterboard scrim. I'm going to put a load of that in around the periphery as well, just to reinforce the edges. So here I am filling a tool, big blob. Use a flat stick around the edges to level it off. It's not completely full, so I've added some glass scrim, like I said before. Then a little bit more material and level it off. Just with a sideways shaking motion in the stick. Another tool, this is a bigger one, so you can see a little bit more about what I'm up to. I get it around the edges first to make sure the corners are nice and packed and there's no big stones getting in the way. Spread it out, again, don't overfill. The scrim or the rebar, if you're going to use it, has to go towards the top of the mould because it wants to carry tension, and when the thing's falling over, the tension side will become the bottom, which obviously when we turn this over, that'll become. So here I am just flattening it out. I've buried the scrim, used my fingertips to fully wet it, and now I'm burying it, trying to level it off best I can. And this is a countertop, so it's only 1 inch thick. The bench itself was 40mm thick. Agitating it, in other words, banging it with a hammer to get any bubbles out, going over it again, and then cover it over and leave it for 4 or 5 days to dry. So this is the bench that you saw me moulding. I took this out yesterday. It's just sat on its supports for now. That central support will disappear once it's all bonded on, shimmed at the right height. But again, little twig, not bad at all. The cement has got that waterproofing in it, but I'm going to add a clear coat to it, a clear sealing coat you can get for stone and tiles and stuff. So, not shabby at all. So this is what they look like when they've come out of the mould tool. Not completely, it's still on the melamine tool here, but I've taken the edges off. You can see the silicone sealant in here. Now this has been drying for 5 days. You can see the concrete is still quite flexible. There you go. So I'm going to leave that for a couple more days before I take it out. I've taken the smaller ones out. Here's what one of them looks like. You can see it's not bad at all. They had a little defect, but once I seal it, those will stay put. And there's the other one. So, not shabby at all. You'll be able to see that in this outdoor kitchen, they go very well with the barbecue. The cupboard fronts have got to go on, but we're starting to get there. So, for a week drying for something this big. So there you have it. That's the final product. A couple of benches. Looks pretty good. Doesn't take long. Looks fab. Bye.